Welcome to Epilogue Podcast, the show where we discuss some stuff that happened on a different show ages ago which nobody really cares about anymore.
Hello, I'm Portponky.
And I'm LeBloc.
Today we're discussing Deep Space Nine, Season 6, Episode 11, Waltz. Ducat and Cisco are stranded on a desolate planet waiting to be rescued.
Old friends sitting around a campfire sharing stories.
Yeah, an alternate title for this episode could have been Monologue Wars. I'm fine with this, though.
It was a good monologue war.
Well, if you're going to have a monologue war, Ducat and Cisco are excellent choices. Although I wouldn't mind seeing one between Picard and Garrick.
But that's not this episode. So.
No. That would make no sense. So
He's
here
not
we
Picard.
Have... No. Shame on you.
I'm sorry.
Here we have Ducat's character, laid bare. We've been mentioning it a few times that he seems a little bit mad. I think this confirms our suspicions.
We were wrong. He's way mad.
He is absolutely off the deep end. Although I think a lot of that is exacerbated about the circumstances. With Xiao and losing the Dominion war. Well, they didn't lose the war, but he lost his shot at it.
Those circumstances didn't create his madness. It unleashed it.
For sure, he's been talking about this stuff for a few seasons, and people have sort of been brushing him off, saying, yeah, that's a weird point of view. Now we find out that they should have been taking it a little more seriously. One thing I will say is, apart from Worf, all the Starfleet characters were total jerks. Including Cisco, I would say.
Why do you say that?
Well, do you understand why I say it for the Defiant crew?
How they try to bully Worf into disobeying orders?
Yes, but not even just bullying Worf. The notion that they would even consider that is horrible. They would let 30,000 people be put in peril just to save one dude.
They come off really bad because we know that figure. We could pretend it was just a dozen people or something. That's still bad, but then we know how many thousands are relying on them.
Kira said it in no uncertain terms, so we know that what they have to do is an extremely serious responsibility. Thousands will die if they don't. So they're casually like, oh, I didn't quite hear that. Ha ha ha. Did you hear it, O'Brien? And O'Brien's sort of, I guess not.
The way they shirk it off is so callous.
It's awful. And even if they didn't hear it, they know what their orders are. Worf was right to tell them all to shut up. Just loved how he said that Bashir should leave.
Okay, if they didn't hear her, then they would have to go by what they were originally told, right? You don't just abandon what was told because you didn't get the update.
There's new orders, but we don't have them yet, so let's just do whatever. They were also really harsh when they beamed up to survivors, and
oh yeah,
there was two random Starfleet dudes. They all look gutted.
Oh, it's not Cisco. Send them back.
Oh, it's you. Who are you? God. Ugh. Why are you here? That's horrible. These people have probably just lost a whole bunch of their colleagues. Everyone they know is dead. And then they get picked up by some other dudes who are just completely disappointed to see them.
Not the best welcoming party. I do like how we were led to believe they were about to beam up Cisco and Ducat, though. That was nice. A little misdirection there.
It's weird how well that worked, because it's only halfway through the episode.
It had me assuming 100%, okay, they're about to both be beamed up. What will complicate this episode further, because we still have so much to go. But then, nope, it was not the case.
I think it worked well for me because the episode's kind of intense. Cisco's doing stuff like hacking the comm system. I always find that sort of high tension storytelling always makes me lose track of time. So when they got to transporting people out, I wasn't sure how much was left to go. It kind of seems like it could be them, although well, yeah. I knew it wasn't, but it's good. It's clever. I also said Cisco was a jerk. I don't know if you agree with that.
Well, let me hear your evidence, counsel.
I wouldn't say he's a big jerk, and given the circumstances, a little bit of jerkdom is warranted, I suppose. His Ducat starts telling him about the things he did during the occupation. In his first month, he improved standards and reduced deaths, and he did a few things. Cisco just dismisses it like, oh yeah, whatever.
Once a Hitler, always a Hitler.
Now, Cisco's probably right to say Ducat is a big Hitler face, but he made no attempt to be impartial about what Ducat was saying, which is jokey, because if there was any time he should be even-tempered and impartial, that was probably it.
But Cisco can't be impartial.
It can be when he's bored. When he's riled up like that, he doesn't want to. He wants to let the full Cisco out. He doesn't want to hold back.
And that's what people do once they take a stance on something. People tend to want to remain consistent rather than take in information and judge it impartially and see how that might affect their worldview or anything. It's so much easier just to stick with what you had and deny new evidence.
It just came off a little like he wasn't really listening, which may well have been the case. He just pegs Ducat as a massive genocidal maniac. And okay, so it turns out that was actually the case. He didn't know that.
He knew it in his heart.
But Ducat's not a monster because he didn't go genocide crazy. He's just a massive racist.
He was thinking about the future of his genocide career. If he tempers it in the beginning, he could get away with more later.
That's the same reason Indiana Jones didn't kill Hitler when he had the chance. maybe that's for another podcast. It's odd that Cisco writes Ducat off as absolutely evil as well, when he's clearly got really bad brain problems.
That was a strange conclusion to come to after his time with Ducat.
I understand it from a sort of shallow point of view. Regardless of motive and stuff, Ducat's not going to do anything good. No good will come of Ducat continuing to meddle in people's affairs.
Sure.
It was a nice flip-flop of the whole villain thing. Loads of shows spend ages trying to make villains ambiguous. Here they're doing the opposite. Okay, this guy, he's clearly bad.
We've seen depth with Ducat already, though, so he doesn't feel flat. He feels like a real character. And so this whole, no, he's super evil thing works well with his character.
Maybe as a viewer, I can't quite buy that he's absolute evil, but I can buy that Cisco would think that.
I agree.
Probably worth praising Mark Alimo's performance as Ducat here. Well, I don't know if it's worth praising. Anyone who's seen the episode can tell from a mile off that he is bringing the A game.
This is one of the best showcases for Ducat that I can think of, anyway.
He's always been a kind of bit part character. He doesn't have full episodes. So here, this was his chance to shine, and boy, did he seize it. The scene at the end with him closing the bay doors on the shuttle, looking out. Oh, pretty scary stuff.
He's so menacing. I love it.
Yeah, there's something about finding out that the old work colleague you hate is also a racist and has genocidal tendencies. There's just something about that makes him a little bit more menacing. He beat Cisco with a metal pole as well.
I'm surprised he left him for dead instead of beating him to a bloody pulp and finishing the job.
He also told the Defiant where Cisco was. He could have left him on the planet.
That's another thing that was weird.
He doesn't want Cisco to die.
He must earn his respect first.
I guess it harkens back to what he said to Wei Yun. A true victory is making your enemy realize that they were wrong to ever oppose you.
Ah, right.
Cisco is his enemy. He can't kill Cisco. Or at least he doesn't want to. He wants Cisco to come around and realize that Ducat was the best thing that happened to Bajor.
And that there should be a statue.
Oh, well, loads of statues.
Oh, Ducat.
Yes. Especially as Cisco's the emissary, so he is one of the most important figures of Bajor.
Okay, it makes sense that he left him alive. I was thinking from my perspective, if I were a genocidal maniac and I were one-on-one with my arch nemesis, I would probably kill him.
Yeah, but when you say that, you're using rational thought and logic, which are tools not usually available to genocidal maniacs. Because if they were, they would stop.
They would not be genocidal maniacs.
They would stand up and say, whoa, whoa, hang on, things are way out of hand.
I killed how many people?
Oh, God. Anyway, Ducat isn't genocidal. He dabbled in it, but he held back. That's why he's so great.
But he regrets holding back.
But holding back is what made him amazing in his own mind. That's why he's convinced that he was so good for Bajor, because he could have been so much worse.
Well, he thinks his heart was in the right place, and if he decided to wipe out a bunch of Bajorans, more than he did, he would still think it's coming from the right place because he would see it as mercy killings. Oh, you don't even deserve to be alive. I'm so great that I'm killing you.
Oh, I'm sure whatever he'd done, he would justify.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think when all of this really surfaced in Ducat, because at the start of this show, he's a sort of temperamental military commander type. But none of this is really apparent. Then again, this kind of I don't know if you want to call it severe character flaw or whatever, is something that can sit as an undercurrent with someone constantly being dismissed by others or whitewashed or whatever. Like that happens in real life. Not that Star Trek isn't real.
My idea of who Ducat is has gradually shifted throughout the show. Where he is now is not what I thought back in season 1.
And yet, back in season 1, he was ringing his own bell quite a lot. I don't think it's an abrupt transition.
No, not at all. It happens so slightly.
It's very convincing that this was always there, that this hatred was always there. He's always been menacing and kind of angry.
Nothing that we learn about Ducat now and recently betrays what we saw before. It all fits together. But it would make me look at him differently if I were to watch through the previous seasons again.
It's a good show to rewatch. There's enough twists that take quite a long time to come out that you can rewatch it. Although a lot of this show is kind of made up as they went along. So, for example, Bashir's genetic enhancements, there's absolutely no foreshadowing of that.
Did you had to think about that while you watched, though? Rewatched, I should say.
In terms of the enhancements, yeah, there's only one thing he ever does that is at all beyond normal before his enhancements are revealed. But for Ducat, it's totally smooth. This is something that is, I wouldn't say foreshadowed, but a natural development. It's just like in real life. The first time he does these weird things, you just laugh it off and say, oh, that Ducat, he's a bit odd.
He's a character.
And then he does it 2 or 3 more times, like when he starts loving Kira for no apparent reason. That starts really early. But by the time you notice it's frequent, it's been going on for ages. So this crazy Ducat is definitely something they pitched well. Although, I have some behind-the-scenes info which might be spoilery. But I don't think it is.
Let's risk it.
They were a little upset with how popular Ducat was with the fans, so they've made this episode to try and make him less popular.
Why was he popular?
Well, Ducat, because he's a good character.
Yeah, okay. He's entertaining.
Yeah. If it's a Ducat episode, you think this will probably be at least decent. If it's a Bajoran Farmer episode, do you think, oh, I hope Ducat shows up? You know, it's like if it's a Garrick episode, you know, it's probably going to be, at minimum, good, if not great. And Garrick isn't the nicest guy.
So then what's so bad about having an entertaining villain?
He was very popular. They wanted Starfleet guys to be popular.
Oh, so it was all propaganda?
More or less. It didn't work, though.
I'm sure this made people like Ducat even more.
Yeah, people just wanted more Ducat screen time.
Wow, look how entertaining he is when he's given a full episode.
Pretty much. Let's make him crazy. But Mark Limo couldn't do crazy like a fish in water, so that's not really going to put anyone off by delivering a well-written and well-acted hour-long monologue of Ducat being insane.
I don't think they understand how propaganda works. This made me like the crew less because of how they treated the survivors and all that stuff we already talked about.
Yeah, it 100% backfires.
Except, interestingly enough, for Dax, she's the one who says, "Hey, I heard what you said. We know what we need to do." And then when Cisco gives his little speech at the end, she says, "Yeah, that's fine and dandy, but what are you going to do? You could, talk is cheap. You need to do some actions here."
That's actually true. Dax was being a good officer by the books. Dax is forgiven, and Worf is forgiven as well, because he kind of didn't buy into that whole "let's get those thousands of people killed" plan.
I don't think that was the official title of that plan.
Might as well have been, but yeah. 0 points for Bashir, you scuzzy doctor.
He came off the worst.
They should have checked if he was a changeling.
Yeah, after that line.
There's 30,000 people out there. They're going to get killed by the Dominion, and this guy's saying, "I don't think we should go protect them. We've got to find some dude on a random planet who may well be dead." I'm sure you have a quote for us. There was plenty to choose from.
"You've got to laugh at a universe that allows such radical shifts in fortune."
That's reasonably level-headed advice from the cat.
I love that kind of reasonableness comes from Ducat in this episode.
He said a fair few things that were well-tempered and fair.
Like, I should have killed them all?
Well, not so much that, but being crazy isn't like a tap that's pouring water out of control. It's more like being in a swimming pool. Some of you still above the water. And here he's saying, "Hey, it's funny how fate changes things." He even said it could go either way with the beacon. Although that was an insane
yeah,
lie.
that was a lie.
But the point still stands. If it was broadcasting neutral, then that would be fair, kind of.
Not really. It's heavily stacked in his favor, even if he did what he said he did.
No, heavily stacked in his favor would be if he was transmitting Dominion.
But that's Dominion airspace.
No, it was on the border.
Oh, all right.
Or at least I don't think the Honshu would be flying through Dominion space. With a Dominion prisoner of war, that doesn't seem like a very good idea. Then again, Starfleet aren't the best tacticians.
It's the last place they'll ever think to find them.
Yeah, except no.
Right on their front door.
When you're taking the prisoner to Earth, make sure you fly around Cardassia, not through it. Well, I figure we probably won't be seeing Cap for a while.
Or immediately.
Who knows? We'll only find out one way.
How?
Reading spoilers on the wiki. I mean, watching the next episode.
Okay.
Let's do it!
Yeah!
Oh, yes.